Hello, everyone. You are on the air with VA3EWV AllStar EchoLink Evening. Just going to do a quick check and see if we have any audio, and if we do, we're going to get started here. So I see that we are streaming, and we're just going to say, yep, we have sound, so we're ready to roll. Let's get a good tune jumping right quick. It's still, I feel like the dead of winter here. Let's get some radio games going or something like that. Here we go. And I'll start sharing this out. What happened? Okay, it's still playing. Radio games playing all day long. 7-3 records, punching back, have a blast. Work the world, runs the task at hand. Wave that signal strong from coast to land. Transmitting joy ain't no better pastime. Laughter in the static, shit all around. Out here we grow, mix the beats and waves. Harmony electric in these radio days. Radio games playing all day contact. 7-3 records, punching back, have a blast. Work the world, runs the task at hand. Wave that signal strong from coast to land. Crave the knock, find that golden flow. Station to station, let the good times roll. Echoes travel wide, far beyond the range. Friendships on the airwaves, strange but not strange. Crank the knob, find that golden flow. Station to station, let the good times roll. Echoes travel wide, far beyond the range. Friendships on the airwaves, strange but not strange. From dusk to dawn, we chatter and we laugh. Frequency, our language, speaking telegraph. Hearts connected, bound by unseen friend. In this summer fun, every moment lasts. Radio games playing all day contact. 7-3 records, punching back, have a blast. Work the world, runs the task at hand. Wave that signal strong, out in the road to land. From dusk to dawn, we chatter and we laugh. Frequency, our language, speaking telegram. Hearts connected, bound by unseen thread. In this summer fun, every moment led.
Tuning in on the ragtime show, and radio signals all aglow. CQDX from near and far, best for God 73, wherever you are. Morse code telling the rhythmic beat, single side band sending out a treat. Digital waves dance through the night, 20 meters clear and bright. Rocks, ragtime radio, CQDX, let's go. Morse code flowing smooth, feel that ragtime groove. 6 meters calling loud and clear, 10 meters friends we hold dear. 50 meters reaching high, 40 meters music in the sky.
Okay, that's going to be starting in one more minute.
Can radio
Okay, the net's going to be getting started right now, actually. Let me just get all this stuff set up here. Get some windows moved around. Okay. Good evening, everybody. This is on the air with VA3EWV, AllStar EchoLink net tonight. Hopefully we get a couple people to join us on the net. I see some people on the live there. Thank you for being there. I don't see anybody on the feed, so I hope that people can connect. Let me just see. There is. Let me just see if I can connect to my own node there. I've never come into the shack there and there was nobody there, so let me just see if I can connect myself. So I'm just going to try on my cell phone there. See if I can't connect. Here we go. Make sure it's not having any issues. Okay, so I'm connected, so that's good. There is a repeater connected, so let's see what's happening there. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor VA3EWV with the AllStar EchoLink Friday evening net. I see we have a few folks out there already. VE6IDK and VE3JUM. Thanks for being there. Can I get an audio check right quick on this transmission? Over. VE3JUM, do you copy me? Over. Okay, anybody on the VE6IDK repeater? Does anyone copy on the VE6IDK repeater out in Spruce Grove, Alberta, Canada? One more check out there for VE3JM. VE3JM, do you copy? Over?
Hey, good evening, Ernest. If that's you on there, got no audio. VE3JUM.
Uh-oh, I have no audio. So, uh-oh. VE3JUM, do you copy now? I think I have something disconnected. VE3JUM, do you copy now?
QSL, Ernest. I got you in there.
Okay, good. I'm glad I was talking to myself there for a bit. Looks like I had mistakenly disconnected the wrong cable. I just got a new toy that I'm going to be doing a video about later on this weekend, I guess. And here I am talking and introducing myself on the net. And I forgot I had this new toy connected. But you can hear me okay now, right?
QSL, Ernest. I'm anxious to hear about the new toy. VE3JUM.
Yeah, it's just new to me. Yes, it's new to me. It's probably not new to other people. And this has been the most, it's the most simple device that's going to save me a lot of time. I'm just going to show it here. Well, for anybody that's watching on Facebook there, see if I can get the camera on it. It's it's just a little box there. It's called the FH-2, and I got it off the net there. I don't even know how much I paid for it. It couldn't have been much because I bought it. It's a memory box for my Yaesu radio. It has 5 memory channels on it, and since I do a lot of parks there, and I've been practicing on CW here, I practice at least an hour or two a day. And the hopes is within the next 2 or 3 months to go out and do activations for Parks on the Air on CW. But right now, I have it set up with just calling out a couple things, and also people can never get my call sign right, so I have that programmed in to say my call sign.
Oh, right on, sounds good. That'll be a different methodology of QSOs, that's for sure, and be able to pierce some DX stations much better than just SSB or FT8. Well, FT8 is pretty good too, but nonetheless, a different mode of operation for you, so another check in the box, so to speak. Back to you, Ernest.
Yep. Yep. Thank you so much for being out there too. It looks like we're just going to be a duet tonight, so this might be a quick net. By the way, tonight's topic is actually, are there things out there that you want but you just can't get? Probably not because you can't afford. Some people want stuff that they just can't have because of their location. But I love portable operations. And what I don't like too much is getting in and out the car to keep switching my antenna from different bands. You know, as you may have seen in some of the posts, I challenged myself, and I went out there and I got that working 10 parks, working 10 bands. And when it's minus 16, minus 20, you know, and I broke my antenna. I got another one sent to me this week along with this new little toy there. But it's such a pain getting in and out of the car and trying to tune an antenna that's frozen solid, right? And literally, I wish I had the camera out there, because when I was, you know, retracting it, you had ice shavings coming off the antenna, right? And the snow's so deep, I just can't get and put up an end-fed half wave. Not because I usually put them in the trees. I don't have any of those fiberglass or whatever, carbon fiber poles or whatever. Not now. Everything, you can get a lot of stuff free for a ham radio, but a lot of things do cost money. Anyway, so that's our topic for this week. It's basically, are there things that you want that you can't get right now? And if you could knock over a liquor store and not get caught, would you do it to go get that stuff you want? So come on in, tell everybody where you're from, how long you've been a ham, and that's going to be our topic today, stuff that's out of reach. Maybe it's financially out of reach, or maybe it's because where you live is out of reach. Back over to you.
Right on, Ernest. Yeah, so the call's Victor Echo 3, Juliet Uniform Mike. The name is Jim. QTH is in Lombardy. I became licensed in the 1990-91 time, but I was out of the hobby for quite some time. Finished my engineering degree, and then life got in front of me, and really got back into it probably about a year ago. Back into hot and heavy, and I have not looked back. It's every day I'm tinkering with things, various things. Mostly right now it's based on the fact that I'm in a temporary QTH. It's on UHF, VHF, and digital modes in that regard. So I'm playing with hotspots and that kind of stuff like that. But I got some new toys too, probably since the last time I've been on this net. So I've upgraded from my old Canada TS2000 to for VHF, UHF. I've now got an ICOM IC9700. And while I was making that same purchase, I decided to pick up a Yaesu FT5DR little HT, which again I'm using to communicate with some hotspots. But that's kind of the radio world of things. But to answer the question or the topic of the week, If there's something that I would like to have right now, but it will eventually come in the future, is a tower with related antennas. My old QTH didn't have anything of sort either. I just had a mixture of some random antennas that were doing the job for me, but my next QTH I'd like to solidify some things and have a tower with some Yagis on it and maybe a inverted V or something hanging off of it, but that would be it. I'm looking forward to having that. I don't do any POTA or SOTA work right now. Maybe in the future, I don't know. So I can't relate to the problems that you're having, but I can understand them and the difficulties and the challenge, especially in our climate. So with that, I'll pass it back to you, Ernest. This is VA3EWV.
VE3JUM, thanks for being out there, and thanks for participating in this evening's net. Yeah, you know, when you talk about getting the towers and stuff like that and antennas, you know, that's always goal. And you know, there are people that have been on this net lots of times, like NX3F, Mr. Allen there. He's been on, he's from Temple Hill, I think he's from Temple Hills, but he's talked about having antennas and stuff like that. And I even know friends here in town that have had Yankees and stuff like that, and they have sat in their garages or their storage shed for 20 years, and they still haven't put them up. Now, I do have a freestanding tower that I have standing up on a nice base because I didn't want to land on the ground, but it's standing up, all 5 sections inside of each other, standing up behind my garage there. No rust or anything like that. And last year I wanted to get it erected, but just getting the cement, not even someone getting the foundation. And I'm not a build-it person myself, just putting it out there. But just to pour the foundation, it was going to be over $600 for the cement, right? And at the time, my wife and I had just both had lost our jobs at a bank, CIBC there. For due to some restructuring and stuff, so it was a good little package and all that stuff like that. But you're more concerned about keeping your mortgage paid than anything else, you know. So that was out of reach for last year, and I was like, well, I hope I can get that this coming year. And for me, since I like to do a lot of portable operations, I saw this thing called a screwdriver or sidewinder or something like that. But it's you connect it to your car. You can use it, you know, there's remote controls inside the vehicle. You can tune it to different bands and stuff like that. But right now the thing's almost $600, and that's not including shipping or taxes. So that's something I wish I could have, but I'll put that on the same shelf as that freestanding tower there.
Moving on. How many feet is your freestanding tower, Ernest?
It's 40 feet. It's the 5. It's a. I knew the name, and everybody said, "Oh, that's a good one." So it's a DX something or another, and I have 5 sections, and I have a 6th section that the bottom was cut off, and that's the part that it was given to me to put in the ground. So you can, I think you can get 7 sections for that antenna, right? Like, you know, it's really big at the bottom. So the biggest part, a guy had just, like I said, gifted it to me because they cut off like 2 foot of it. And he says, oh, well, you can put this part in the ground and then put the rest of your tower on top of it. So that was the plan. Another buddy of mine also gifted me a 6-meter Yagi antenna. I forget how many elements are on it. But you know, I work in the parks right now with a vertical, a little bitty vertical, that M750, and when you use it on 6 meters, you just pull up the first section. You just pull up the first section. That's all you need to do. You work 6 meters. This Yagi is huge. I forget how big the boom is, but it's huge. And I was like, my mind couldn't understand how I can go to a park and work on a vertical that's not even 4 foot high and do 6 meters. But I have this Yagi in the back of my yard now on my raised flower bed, just to keep it out of the snow and stuff. And that thing is, I don't know how many feet. Probably the boom's probably like, I don't know, 10 foot long at least or something like that. But it takes some money and it takes different stuff to get these things up there. Back over to you.
Oh, right on, Ernest. Yeah, but I think it might be a DMX tower.
That's it.
It starts with a D. My dad's VA3EWV had a 68-footer, three-spanning DMX tower back in the day, and yeah, I can understand and appreciate the amount of concrete that goes into the base four of those things. I don't recall what the section number or the width of the base of that thing was, but it was up there once you had your boom with the Aggie that he had. I forget the name of it, but it was a tri-bander, and then he had a couple other antennas on top of that. I think one was a VHF beam, and then on the top I think he maybe had an Antron 99, which is theoretically for 11 meter, but it works good on 10. But yeah, it's great to have that tower for the elevation, and the directionality of those beams are pretty good, but yeah, there's always the caveat as to the restrictions in regards to municipality and what you're allowed to do. So this is kind of one of the things that I'm looking at as well when we're TTH shopping is out into the outskirts of the city. You're a little more flexible, let's say, or the regulations are a little bit different, but not as tight as being in the city. But having said that, yeah, still looking for the house. The house shopping is it's happening right now. We're excited to find the new TTH and get all settled in. So that's ongoing. But on the radio side of things, still kind of in a temporary measure. But this 9700 that I picked up, Radio World / GPS Central, has them on sale right now. So I picked them up, and man, oh man, what a difference! So that old camera that I have, I don't know how many years old. If it is 20 years plus, but the features on this Icon 9700 is amazing, and the waterfall displays are, well, most radios now are starting to come with that and SDRs, and I've played them up. I've tried them out with SDRs, and I have my own OpenWebRx website that I just host to myself. But yeah, that waterfall, you can pick anything out. I think you have a 991A, if I recall. Great little radio as well. I took the 9700 just because I'm going to have a separate HF radio at some point in the future, and probably retire the TS2000. But all my stuff is base work. And my truck, I have I think it's an Icom 2800, just a dual band older radio, no digital modes. But it's kind of what I'm running right now. But I'm always looking at things to buy. But the pocketbook is pumping the brakes on that. Back to you, Ernest.
QSL on the pump and the brakes, let me tell you. Yeah, I pulled up that radio. I really love the ICOMs. And like I said, I have the Yaesu because it was a free gift, right? But when I was looking at radios, I was like, man, I love that radio. And VE3KKA, a friend of mine, she had got an ICOM, and she was able to customize the screen, and they already had nice little things that you could, like a 3D printed stuff you can make it look even more beautiful with. And it comes with D-Star, and we have 8 repeaters in the area. 6 of them are fusion repeaters and not a D-Star repeater in sight. So I was like, well, but hey, you never know. Might be able to get one for portable operations. So I'll break with you. We do have Kilo Bravo 6, Juliet Foxtrot Lima, that has joined us. Kilo Bravo 6, Juliet Foxtrot Lima, the topic of this week. Well, welcome to the net first and foremost. You're on the air with VA3EWV, AllStar EchoLink net. It's here every Friday night at 8 o'clock until we finish talking. The topic of tonight is there anything radio related that you would love to have, but either your pocketbook or your QTH situation is keeping you away from it? And what would that thing be? Okay, come on in, introduce yourself, and if you want to share, go ahead. Back over to you. KB6JFL.
in Bakersfield, California. Well, let's see. I have the A3710 and the Icon 991A, and my digital radio is the DX1200. So kind of fixed with radios. The only thing I'd really like to have would be the ICOM 9700 for satellites, but then I'd have to get an SAT sat tracker, and then I'd have to get a whole bunch of antennas for that too. So I have to wait on that. In the meantime, if you got a handheld, it does the Doppler and everything. I just got to get the antenna going to do that this next week here. So other than that, you have a GD, radioactive, no, not radioactive repeatments. Hate when my phone does that. Anyway, it goes blank on the screen here, and I didn't know if I was still there. Anyway, other than that, KV6JFL, and it was 72 today. We got 70s all week, and next Thursday, 84 degrees.
Well, we for sure appreciate that good weather report. Sounds like you guys gonna be heading into spring pretty soon, if not already. It's -7 here right now, and it's supposed to get colder. All around me here, there's 4 to 5 foot snow drifts. I have planter boxes that are 4 foot tall in the back, big ones. We have an above ground pool that's about 4.5 foot off the ground. All that stuff is just covered with snow, straight to the ground. So yeah, I went out in the yard and made trails for the dog even with the Kubota tractor. Because he couldn't even go out in the back. So we have 3 acres here, and we were talking to VA3EWV earlier. They're looking for a new QTH, and we saw some houses in town and stuff like that. But I really started looking and trying to convince the wife to let's move out of town. I was successful with that, and she's been very happy. The fact that we're not on top of people, because we lived in row house forever. The last two places we rented were row houses, and then we bought this place. So it was good to just get away from the row house stuff and come out here. Lots of space, lots of trees. Well, on the back and side of the property, nothing on the other 2 sides, but there's room for improvement. But yeah, thank you guys for all being out here tonight and sharing with us. So now we've done that, what are you guys doing for the rest of the week or for the weekend? Back over to you, VE3JUM.
Hey, Ernest, VA3EWV, and everybody else on the net. At the moment, for the weekend, plans are kind of in shuffle, let's just say. Although looking forward to a little bit of the milder weather. We do got a pile of snow here. I was able to get out on the snowmobile.
Oh yeah.
Was that last Saturday and the Saturday before? Put some kilometers on it, not a lot, but some, and the trails are pristine. So who knows? The season is so short here for that sport now. It's almost time to put the for sale sign on it. So, well, maybe I'll get out on that. We're not 100% sure. But yeah, no set definitive plans at this particular moment, Ernest. Back to net, this is VE3WM.
VE3JUM and the net, VA3EWV returning. I was wondering about that. And I'm glad you're here because I get to pick your brain, and ask you about that. I was out doing portable activation a little bit during the week there, and it was right after the snows. And I'm telling you, I was just as happy for those folks that do cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, the snowmobiles, the ice fishing. I love it. I love the winter myself. I'm not even going to kid you. I'd rather it cold than it's hot. And also, I get to talk a lot longer distance when it's wintertime on my commutes on my car radio. I hit repeaters better in the wintertime than I can in the spring and summertime because of all the leaves. Well, at least that's what I think. But about that though, yeah, we had some pretty brutal winters. You know, you get one or, like I think last year we got 4 decent snowfalls, and the year before that maybe 4 decent snowfalls. And I was looking at the prices of those machines, and they're not inexpensive at all. But I do see a lot of people now trading those things in if they can sell them, and going with the 4-wheeler type things. I don't know if they're called 4-wheelers, but they have all these other types of 4-wheel vehicles now. Would you go to something like that, or would you stay with that? And the reason I'm asking, when we moved out here, sorry for being long-winded there. Also, let me pause just in case there's a repeater. Okay, we're back. But we had when we moved out here, we had our RV for 3 years, and we kept it very, very up. Like we kept bringing it to the dealer where we bought it from. They would winterize it. They would do all the sealing stuff and caulk this and seal that and whatever. And we kept it indoors in the winter time. I paid to have it stored in the inside. But when we moved out here, it sat on the side of the house for a couple reasons. Gas was at almost its highest, and the rent to go to the KOAs and stuff like that was just astronomical. And you were going to be paying about $300 a weekend just to go to what we had in our own yard, right? So it was a fort for a little while for the grandkids and stuff like that. And then the wife was like, "Oh, I want my kitchen redone, and I want a bathroom done downstairs." And I'm like, "Okay, well, we're not getting in debt for that. So you got to look around the house to see what you want to get rid of, right?" And we decided to sell the RV to do the renovations. Do I miss the RV? No, I don't. I just don't miss it. What I won't want again? Yeah, I would get an RV again. But I don't know. I'm kind of half and half on that. So with me rambling on about that, if you were to sell the snowmobile, would you go and get some other type of vehicle? Like, would you go and get a boat, or would you go get like a 4-wheeler, or would you be like me, take the money and spend it on house improvements or radio stuff? Over to you.
Yeah, I can appreciate that very much, Ernest. Yeah, I had Colorado twice, with the exception of a Sea-Doo, which I rented numerous times.
Oh, I didn't know you
it's
could do
one of
that.
those things. It's like when you see your assets sitting there depreciating, and whether or not you're using it to the extent that you can. And like I say, this snowmobiling sport, it's probably one of the funnest ones that I've had, or call it quote unquote toy that I've had. But it just becomes the cost associated to it. I don't owe anything on the machine, but every year, you got the pass, there's the oil, and there's the maintenance, and there's the gas, and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you kind of things that you add into it. And for the longest time, because the conditions in the trail here, or the lack of snow here on the Ontario side, I would get a Quebec pass. So the Quebec pass, and then then you have the related trailer. So I've got an enclosed snowmobile trailer, and now you're trailering with the truck across the border, and you've got the pass for the Quebec side, and hotels and everything. So it adds up in the end, but I tell you, it's a fun sport. It's just I find the conditions here are limited, and when it snows, it's one of those things that you got to drop and go, because like next week here they're calling for rain, and that rain will wreak havoc on the trails and the base and everything else like that. But if you can have that flexibility in your work schedule or in your life in general, people will go and the conditions are good. It's a fun sport. But yeah, I would likely get rid of the snowmobile. I did have an ATV, and one of the reasons why I got rid of it, it wasn't one of those legal 2-up ATVs that you need here in Ontario. So I ended up getting rid of it. But it was also sitting quite some time for that reason, because it wasn't a legal 2-up. But I think what I might do is consider one of those side-by-sides
That's
But
what I was
every
talking.
one of the
Yes,
people that I know that have one of those side by sides here is the price of those things you can almost buy a little cheap for the same price as one of those side by sides.
right.
So things are up in the air. I did have an RV back in the day, and I did all the provincial parks. My YL works at the provincial parks right now, and I thoroughly enjoyed going to all the ones that were in this neck of the woods. But again, with that too, it was a lot of work backing it up and then going to the park, paying for your park pass, etc., etc. But again, it gets you out and about and different, call it scenery. If I was working from home, so going out to the provincial parks, or at least getting out of the house, or getting away from the house on the weekend was a nice change of scenery. But we'll see. Lots happening, and looking forward to the future. Back to you, Ernest. Thanks again for having the net. This was VA3EWV.
VA3EWV, thank you so much for that. Yeah, because I finally got to ask somebody about those, because I know there's a lot of, a lot of decisions to make. And like you say, your assets are sitting there, and you're like, huh. And everything needs insurance, everything needs maintenance. You cannot let anything slide, because if you do, it'll go into a bad state. Let's pick it back up with KB6JFL. What are you going to be doing this weekend there, Robert?
Yeah, VA3EWV in the group, KB6JFL. To see, probably studying for my extra. I just signed up for ham radio prep yesterday, and already started. I've already got through 9 sections already, and I love the format. It's a really great format, and I think I'm going to try to take it in mid-March or April there, so hopefully there anyway. Other than that, I got my usual run on Japan and China here on 12 meters as usual this time of day. Several Japan stations and China stations coming back. There's a Hong Kong station, and then got three Japan stations calling me here all at the same time. Anyway, yeah, a busy time. Got to hang on the phone and hit the key of the mouse and everything else. MPA, VA3EWV, KB6JFL.
I hear that. Speaking of those, I don't know what type of antennas you have there, but I was talking to some friends of mine here, and about where I get out to right now with my antenna, and it seems like to be the same places over and over and over again, right? So I was like, wow, I wish I could get other places. Yeah, I wish I could get other places. So I can't wait to get the tower up and try to get some directional stuff, because I hear everybody that keeps saying, like I've started to meet several people there, like Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot, yourself, a couple other people on my website, and they're always doing DX, right? And they're like, oh, I hear so-and-so on this band and on this frequency, and I hear so-and-so on this band and this frequency. And I go, but I can hear people calling them, but I can't hear them because I just have the little polar vertical, right? Now I did, with the help with help from a friend of mine, I did just get me an 80 to 10 in-fed half wave, and I have it 45 foot up on both sides. But it's in a certain direction, because that's like on that side of the house, I only have 2 or 3 trees I can connect it to. So I'm getting the same people all the time, right? I'm starting to be familiar with the folks. So I wish I had a beam that I could, get other stuff. Not only that, it's not that I do contesting or whatever, but I've started challenging myself to do more things. And I was just excited to get that DX100. But I can't get anybody in Oceania if you're doing the QRZ. I have 3 contacts, right? So I would love to get a beam and a tower set up and stuff like that to try to get some of that stuff. Okay, I think we're at the end of the net. We're going to do a last, if you have any final comments or anything like that. This has been enjoyable, and I would like to hear more about the toys and stuff like that, and what you do with it, and and your new place there. because that has to do a lot with what you have too. You know, if you go to a small place, you don't have that much of a yard, you're going to be storing all your stuff off site, and that's a big. Because when we lived in the row house, the neighbors complained, except for when COVID happened. Nobody complained about having RVs in front of the house then. But living in a row house and having an RV, it took up our whole parking spot. We had to park on the street, right? So, and then when we moved out here, all of a sudden our kids were like, "Oh, you have all that space. Can we park this? Can we do this? Can we bring this over?" And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." So, when you go to look for your place, are you guys going to be looking out of town or in town there? Back over to you.
Hey, Ernest. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm looking at places, call it quote unquote, in the country. I did my time in the city, and there's pros and cons, obviously, to both. But for me, I prefer living in the country. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm looking. And not only that, it's not it's more so from a pricing perspective. I'm not sure about where in the area that you're living in, because you're south and southeast of me. But I'm finding this, if I draw a circle of the area that I'm looking at, if you're call it quote unquote Iowa proper, man, oh man, the prices of houses are in my mind insane. But and for I guess from the price points that you have to pay to get a house, but nonetheless, I'm got the luxury that I can be a little bit on the outskirts, and with that comes a little bit of relief on the price of the houses, but not only that, but property taxes, and that all folds together. But I'm looking at something that has a little bit of a yard, so I can have strings of antennas. Anyway, that's the goal. We'll see if we make that happen. Back to you.
Man, I'm telling you, we thank you for that VA3EWV returning. Yeah, right. We've been here for 3 years now, and we were selling our house right at the end of COVID, where that our house was like worth $240 something. Living there in Canada, in a place called Village Green. We bought it for $230 something. I guess it went up to like $280 or something. It wasn't an end unit or nothing. And then when COVID happened, all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, you can sell your house for $600." So my plan was to go get a house, and my friend who was a real estate person, he goes, "Hey, I am having so many people sell their house, buy the other house, and they're going mortgage free. Let me come talk to you." So he came and talked to us. Then all of a sudden, the wife, it's not what I wanted. And she's like, "Oh, I need to have 2 bathrooms. I need to have 2 bathrooms. I need to have 2 bathrooms." And every house that was 2 bathrooms would not. It was enough of a cost. I'm like, how much do these bathrooms cost? Because every house that had 2 bathrooms or 2.5, I would have got a no mortgage, right? Anyway, long story short, we bought this house, and we were smart and we didn't take any of the profit of the sale. We put it all in the thing, so we can get out of this in about 10 years, like just pay it off in 10 years. But then, like other people, we bought the stuff during the COVID. We couldn't look at things, and then when we got here, their idea of a full bath is if it has 3 pieces in it. So one of the bathrooms had a urinal, the toilet, and the sink, and they declared that a full bathroom. So when we finally got here and moved in, I was like, "Where's the other bathroom at? Where's the other where you could take a shower?" And the only place you could take a bath is in our master bedroom on our ensuite. So for the first 2 years, anytime we had any guests stay over or anything like that, they had to come to our bedroom to go take a shower in the master bedroom. But after everything's said and done, I don't have any regrets. You can kind of hear a little, because I just didn't want a mortgage. Life is different if you don't have a mortgage, right? So yeah, when you move out to the country, you can find some really good deals. So keep looking. Hopefully you get something that suits the both of you. and you can step away with not too much of a mortgage. Okay, I'll break with you there. We'll ask Robert if he's worked those Japan stations, and if so, I guess we can end on that. So, Robert, over to you now. Kilo Bravo 6, Juliet Foxtrot Lima.
Yeah, KB6JFL. Yeah, my Japan and China and Indonesia and Hong Kong all at once
Oh, wow.
turned into New Zealand and Australia. So yeah, I have a 10 through 160 in-fed halfway antenna, 134 feet long, going from the second story of the shack all the way out to the back on one side of the fence and down across the back and up beside the other side of the fence. It's actually a half square infed there, and like I said, it's 134 feet. The highest part's where it comes out the window, and then goes down the fence about 6 feet all the way around, and it works extremely well. Yesterday I had a good opening into Europe, which is not easily to do sometimes on the West Coast, but I worked some like 30 European stations yesterday on 10 and 15 meters there yesterday, but all the GX today, as usual, is on 12 meters here this afternoon. It was about 25, 30 JAs, and Indonesia's
Holy crap.
and now is at elbows and VKs here, all at right around the Baillie time zone. So anyway, we'll let you go there. It's quite interesting. My inside halfway, by the way, the feed box is inside the window. Tupperware type thing, of course, Ernest knows that one, but it's not Tupperware. Sitting on a filing cabinet, and so I have about three.
Uh-oh.
Had to break there. I have about 3 feet of coax from the feed box to the radios, and the bare wire goes out the window, and that's where it goes all the way around, so it turns into a speaker wire and the rest of the way around. Anyway, KB6J,
I appreciate when you said you were working so many stations, my mouth was popped up, and I was like, wow. I've seen, like, you know, I do a lot of filming of stuff I see, and I get pretty excited, because, you know, you can tell I'm not a newbie anymore, because I've been here for, well, I haven't been in HF for 2 years. I only started HF, really, in July of this past year, when I started doing Parks on Air. But I started doing HF probably in June with FT8. And to finally see, with my own eyes, Japan stations pop up on the screen, being over on, you know, this side of the water, close to this coast, not over there, because you're in California, I think. But being on the East Coast, I was like, oh my God, I see 2 Japan stations. And then I finally worked Hawaii, and I almost went into a fit, because I was like, I was trying to work the guy, and it wasn't working, and, excuse me. While I was trying to work him, I'm like, let me go to QRZ and see if this guy has an email address. He did. So I emailed him, and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to work you on such and such. And he came back and he says, well, I don't see you trying to work me. So I was like, oh, what can I do? What can I do? So I turned up the RF power to 60 watts, which I was told, you know, keep it under 40 because you don't want to kill your radio. And everything I read about the 991, it's always pull a pillow around it because it'll blow up if you don't treat it good, you know? So I'm always scared to do. Anyway, I put it up to 60 watts, and he goes, I see you. He wrote back and he said, I saw you. And then we worked each other, and I was like, how cool is that, you know, to be not talking, but trying to work a station, because it's not as easy as people say. So I was working him, emailed him, you know, and then when I was trying to get to my 100DX, I reached out to a guy, I forget what country it was, and I said, hey, look, if you can confirm my whatever, you'll be my 100th country for the DX. I'm actually going to do a video about that, by the way. And then he wrote back to me, and he says, oh, I just usually do log of the world, not the other thing, but I'll go ahead and do it. And then I sent him the screenshot of him being my 100th person to get me that certificate for doing the DX100. So I love the digital modes and stuff like that because for the most part, people validate their QSOs with you if they're doing digital, and they are good with technology like email and stuff like that. Okay, guys, it's been a nice evening tonight. Glad you were both there. You made it very interesting. So far, I've been lucky enough to not have any zeros coming in, so I appreciate you both being out there. Have a good night to both of you, and 7-3, and I'll see you guys around.
Thanks, Ernest, for hosting that, and 73 to all. Have a good evening and a good weekend, and we'll talk soon. This is VA3EWV.
Yeah, 73s there, both of you there, Ernest, and you get to get the name on the other end there. So, anyway, back out at your FT8 here before dunk, before the sun goes down, 12 meters, it works out real good on the gray line for DX on the west coast there anyway. So, yeah, I'm in Bakersfield, California, about 100 miles north of Los Angeles. Thank goodness it's far enough away. And 86 about 73.
Thank you so much, KD3 Alpha India Juliet. KD3 Alpha India Juliet. Good evening to you. You're on there with VA3EWV. We just saw you come into the net there. How's it going, and where are you from?
KD3AIJ. This is Ron. I'm in western Pennsylvania. I'm sorry to get in late to the net tonight. I've been on once or twice before, but was out having dinner tonight and got on late. I'm glad to hear you guys are all still here. It's a cold and kind of snowy night in Pittsburgh, but we're hoping next week things are going to clear up a little bit. Just wondering, Ernest, if you enjoyed if you're a hockey fan, and did you enjoy the Four Nations tournament? We sure did here in and around Pittsburgh, and didn't end the way we wanted, but what great hockey we watched over the course of that tournament, and we really enjoyed it. It's going to kind of be hard to go back to the regular NHL now. Anyway, back to you. Sorry about being late tonight.
Well, there's no such thing about being late. We appreciate you being out there. Ron, that's for sure. Not a hockey fan, but before I keep going, I want to also say hello to Victor Kilo 6, X-Ray Romeo. Thanks for being out there as well. Victor Juliet 6, X-Ray Romeo. Tim, out of Sarnia. For those of you that may have to go in and out, Tim, come in and say hello there. Glad to have you here. The topic of the night, if you guys can both participate, the topic of the night is there anything in radio that you would like to have, but the pocketbook is not fat enough, or the place you stay you can't get it? I had put on my Facebook page, I was looking for that Sidewinder antenna, mobile antenna that you could put on your car, and then you could tune in all the different bands on it from inside the car. So come on in, Tim. How you doing this evening? Victor Kilo 6 X-Ray Romeo. Alright, Victor Kilo 6 X-Ray Romeo, are you out there? Over. I see him. Okay, we'll go back to him. So, like I was saying, KD3 Alpha India Juliet. I just said what the topic of the week was. But back to your question before you answer the topic of the week. I unfortunately have never been a sports fan. When I went through school from the 5th grade, my parents went to a little demonstration with musical instruments, and I joined the band in elementary school. Was in the band because bands are pretty big in the States. It was in the elementary band, junior high marching band, high school marching band, And then I went to University at Northwest State University in Natchitoches, Louisiana, and was in the marching band there for 4 years as well. And football is a huge thing down there. And I couldn't tell you what the different positions was or the players' things. I just knew when I was going to Pineville High School, our mascot was the Rebel General. And anytime we heard the cannon go off, we would play the fight song. And then he would talk to girls. And he would play the fight song, then talk to the girls. Let me pause for a second. So last night I got the honor to do the Procom net, which is the net here in the province of Ontario. Just in case something goes south, we can activate that net. And I was just letting everybody know that the net was going to start at 8 o'clock last night. And people kept saying to me, "Oh, did you know the game was on?" And no, I did not know that a hockey game was playing. Didn't know what teams were playing. And I did see one clip this morning on my YouTube feed about the score, but I'd never even clicked on it. I went to go look for that Sidewinder antenna instead. So that's to answer your question about me and sports. Yes. So back over to you, KD3AIJ.
KD3AIJ, copy that. So radio is your sport, and I get it. I don't know how you avoid becoming a hockey fan when you're in Canada. At least the assumption from here in the States that everybody in Canada is just head over heels about hockey. But I didn't, being relatively new to your net, Ernest, I didn't realize that you were originally from the States and down in Mississippi, where obviously football is really, really big. As a licensed ham, only about 2 months here, my really hopes and dreams right now are to move this situation mobile. And I am looking at some different options for how I can work still as a tech 2 meters in my vehicle and looking at different kinds of antennas. I've got a pickup that I'd like to be able to equip with a radio and a good antenna. And then I'm in a townhome in a HOA community, so I've got some limits on what I can do here. So the other side is trying to get some sort of an antenna situation that I can do here within the limits of the HOA agreement and what we're allowed to do and what we're not. But I've got some thoughts about all that, but that's all coming up later this year when the weather breaks and things start to get a little warmer. I sure hope to get those in gear. Back to you.
Well, I tell you, you got me very excited saying that because even though I'm not in the HO, wait, one thing at a time. Yeah, grew up in Louisiana, and yes, football is a big thing. And I didn't get in that, and I was a big old boy too. But I just liked to play the horn, and I was pretty good at it. And they said to me, "Well, if you played sports, you'd probably be sitting the bench. But if you go into music, you can get a scholarship." And I wound up getting a scholarship with the marching band. So I had a band scholarship and a choir scholarship, and also I had the GI Bill because I was in the Louisiana National Guard. I was going to join the Army, so that took care of all the schooling stuff for me. So I just tooted my horn and all that stuff like that, and that got me through school. When I came to Canada, we lived in Ottawa, Ontario, which is where the Senators are at there. So that was just, I could look out of my, not out of my bedroom, but the kids' bedroom, we on the second floor, before they started building all the high-rise, and I could see what they call the Canadian Tire Stadium or whatever it was called there, and I could see that. And we had the Senators. I worked at a place called Future Shop for 7 years, and we would always have the newly signed people coming in, dropping tens of thousands of dollars on home theater, and I got to go visit a couple of the players' house. Let me pause. Yep, and got to visit players' houses. I was Future Shop Best Buy, they have like their Geek Squad Connect Pro thing. So I got to go on site and look at some of these places and help install. Well, I just supervised, I was a manager, but see the systems being installed. And also, when I worked for places like Canada Post and Dell and all those places, they would get box seats. And I would just sit there and I'll be like, it's very cold here. So they had lots of good food and stuff, and I would just sit there and eat the food and stuff and try to stay warm and try to keep try to do my managerial stuff like I was having fun, and then I'll get the hell up out of there because I just couldn't enjoy the cold. But I do like ice rink hot chocolate. Back over to you, Kilo Delta 3 AIJ.
KD3AIJ. That's fascinating, Ernest. Thanks for sharing all that. I'm really glad to hear about your background. I'm curious about what took you finally from all the way from Louisiana up into Ontario, and what the attraction was that would allow you to leave a whole different kind of climate for what you're experiencing up there in Ontario, which I know can be very beautiful in the summer, but very chilly and snowy in the cold. I have spent my whole life in western Pennsylvania, so we're used to snow and cold, but I've been a sports fan ever since I was a kid. I never played a little baseball, that was about all. Not a very big person, so I was never cut out for football, and wasn't very tall, so it wasn't going to be basketball. But I always enjoyed being a spectator, and continue to really enjoy it. Over the years, my wife got me into hockey. I was not a big hockey fan. Pittsburgh didn't have a team until in the 70s, and then they got the Penguins. But my wife was here from St. Louis, and she had already become a hockey fan when she grew up in St. Louis.
Okay,
so she got me into it. And now we really enjoy the sport. Probably, we love football, but there's something really special for us about hockey. And it was really great to see the way the game ended last night. And it's one of the sports that requires a handshake at the end of the game. So the two teams came together, and the handshake took a long time last night. There were a lot of very sincere handshakes and congratulations between two teams for two different countries that know they both play really well and have great teams. One was the champion last night, another wasn't. But they really had a great respect for each other, and I really appreciated what all that meant, given all the times we were in. Back to you, Ernest.
86 JFL still here.
KDC JFL. Okay, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Robert. I see you. I'm using my Supermon AllStar Manager, so I can see that we still have you and KD3AIJ and VA3EWV, but who we haven't heard from, I think, is Victor Kilo 6 X-Ray Romeo. Victor Kilo 6 X-Ray Romeo, are you there? Over. Oh, okay, nothing heard. Anyone on the Spruce Grove repeater out of Alberta? Go ahead. Okay, anyone with any other remarks, please come on in. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor. Okay, to answer your question, what got me here to Canada? Well, I was very happy, I had a really good life and stuff like that here in Canada and at home. Came through during, almost like the desegregation part of stuff, like in school in Louisiana and stuff like that. And, I was working with Domino's Pizza. I was with those guys for like 12 years. And fun fact, I was trying to become a franchisee. And I was really working hard. And they kept saying, well, we would let you have the store, but we don't, and this is, rest his soul, his name is Ken Lupo there. But he was like, Well, we wouldn't know how it would be for you to be a manager here in this community. This is Natchitoches, where they film Still Magnolias, by the way. But, you being black, we don't know how that could be. I'm like, but I've been the assistant manager here for years. Why can't I be the manager, right? And that was the story down south. You could always be, the assistant or the whatever, but you can never be the guy that hold the keys, right? And so from there, they said, well, maybe you can go to Mississippi. And that was okay. But the store that they sent me to, it had bulletproof glass, and you didn't even have to wear the Domino's pizza sign. And when I made my drivers do it, one of the drivers, they were shooting at the Domino's pizza sign, not the driver, but at the pizza sign. So when the computers start coming in, that was, I was going to school to be a band director, and the computers start coming in, and I was like, computers. So the first job I had was in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and that's when I worked for Gateway Computers, GE Tech team with Gateway Computers. And from there, I met my wife now of 25 years in a couple of months. I came over to Canada and started working for all the U.S. companies coming into Canada back at the time, because they were coming into Canada for the healthcare and this and that and the other. So I ran call centers for HP, for Compaq, for Dell through these 25 years. I worked for Canada Post here for almost 9 years doing their digital transformation, and now I'm working on the contract with the with Shared Services, which is Shared Services Canada, which is the IT thing in Canada. But I could not have done any of that, believe it or not, at the positions I held in the South, So when I decided to buy my first piece of land, it was my burial plot in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So I called my mom and let me pause. So I called my mom and I said, hey, Mom, guess what? I bought my first piece of land. She goes, oh, where at? And she was talking like, was it near Baton Rouge? Was it near New Orleans? Da-da-da-da. I said, no, it's in Ottawa, Ontario. Oh, she says, how big is your place? I'm like, well, it's about 6 foot deep. And I start telling her that, but that's, burial sites are not cheap, by the way. And now, I'm glad I bought mine so many years ago. If I sold mine now, I can get all the radio stuff I could ever dream of, because that's how expensive it is now. But no, Canada's here, and my wife was actually talking to me today about getting my citizenship. So, no, I love it up here. I love the snow. I'm always out, like, she had a picture of me 2 days ago. I was on the tractor. I had my hat on, the one that covers your ears, you can buckle it under your chin. I don't want to say the Russian hat, but I don't know what it's called, but that kind of hat. I had on my coat with just a t-shirt under it. I had on my church shoes, because they're the ones that were closest to the door. That's why I call them church shoes. No socks, no pants, no nothing, just a pair of shorts. And I'm like, I'm going to go quickly go do the laneway. And I have a Kubota tractor, and I was out there on the tractor in shorts, a coat, and a hat doing the doing the snow. Back over to you.
KD3JO, you're making me laugh, Ernest. That's a great story, and I thank you for sharing it. Living north all of my life, we don't realize how different the Deep South can be, especially for someone who is black. And it's just interesting to me how you found your way up there and how you went through all these different turns and twists and finally found yourself in a place where it sounds like you're very happy and you found a family and a place. And yeah, the climate's really different, but you're embracing it and enjoying it and out there doing what you need to do. And I'm really glad that it worked out for you. It just shows that when somebody has the will and the skills and is willing to do what they need to do and to work hard, how far they can go. And it may be that certain places are going to draw limitations for you, but other places are going to give you those opportunities, and you had the wherewithal to go out and find those. Interesting, I was in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan for the first time this past summer.
Oh.
Had never been to the UP of Michigan before, and just spent some time out there, my wife and I, camping, and had a great time, and did some of good place to be. So God bless you for that, and I'm glad things are going well. Back to you, Ernest.
Yep, I actually wanted to stay in the Upper Peninsula because after the wife and I had met and started dating and all that stuff like that, you know, I was in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. She was in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. I remember I was telling you about Domino's Pizza. I worked there for like 12 years. So in the South, since it wasn't working out for me to have my own store, I went up north, right? I remember having this little bitty book that showed all the Domino's pizzas in the States. So I'm like, let me go try my luck up north. And so I was up here, moved to the Domino's Pizza there, and but they had a job fair, and that's when I was doing the computer stuff as well. So, you know, it was easy. It was an easy transition, and I wanted to stay in the Sioux. I really liked it. It was perfect because I was right at a border town, you know, and I am now too. I mean, I'm only 20 minutes from the border. I will not move any place that's that far away from the border. So I've been offered jobs, you know, in different parts of Canada, but I like being close to the border. So right now I'm right above New York. So I'm happy with that I can just go back and forth and things like that. And if you have the time, if I do have a Facebook group. My mom, she just released 3 books. One was Born Without a Name. If you ever get to, I'll probably look for you on QRZ or something and send you a link. But yeah, it was a great story there. And my mom and I are having the best time of our life at the latter part of our life than we did when we were younger there. I'm going to put it back, put the mic back over, and we're going to see if we can catch this VK6XR before we get out of here. VK6XR, are you there? Over. Okay, nothing heard, so I can keep the XYL happy too. She says I do radio too much, and I have my 1 hour time limit. It's kind of like when we used to watch wrestling. I don't know if you guys watched wrestling when you were young, but you know it had that, the last bite was like, it was a 7-minute thing or while TV time remained. So if she ever comes to the door, I know I'm going to be in trouble. So I'll have to let you guys go there. But I do have a Facebook group in case you guys do social media. It's On the Air with VA3EWV. If you don't have Facebook and you do have YouTube, I do have a YouTube channel. Again, On the Air with VA3EWV. I'm on QRZ. You'll see my email there. If you want to chat off the air and stuff like that, just send me a message. I'll be glad to talk to everybody. Okay, any finals from anybody before we close off the net? We're open mic right now.
KD3AIJ, thanks for hosting the net. Ernest, I really enjoyed the conversation tonight and learning more about your journey over the years, and hope to be back with you next Friday night and continue to be part of this net. Thanks and have a great weekend. KD3AIJ.
Thank you so much, KD3IJ. You have a good week too, and 7-3 to you. We have KB6JFL left, VE3JUM left, and VK6XR. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, KB6, yeah, I don't know if you turned it over to me. I'll make it quick there before you don't get yelled at. Anyway, when you were talking all the different states, I've lived in 4 states and been to Mexico, been to Canada, and 38 states I've been in. So, and licensed amateur radio operator in 4 states. So,
cool.
Illinois, North Carolina, Florida, and now California. So, anyway, covered that area as far as I want to anyway. Okay, later.
Okay, Robert, and I'll ask that question next week, but I didn't know, do you have to get licensed in every state that you live in? That's kind of, we'll talk about that next time. So, yeah, we'll talk to you next time on that. KBC-GFL, I think we double, but I was saying I'll talk to you offline about that sometime. I didn't know that every state is it every state you live in you have to get the license, or you just can get a license in every state in the U.S.? How does that work? Never heard of that.
Well, back in the 70s and early 80s, in the 80s, you had to get, you couldn't keep the same license in a different state, so all you had to do is apply for a change of state and change area call signs, but now you don't have to do that, but back then you did. And had license plates for Illinois, and license plates for North Carolina on the car, and Florida too, got to California, got all of the license plates with me except for Florida, got to California, and they won't let us keep our Florida license plates.
Oh no! So you would have to like put it in the back window or something. Okay, I got you. Okay, Robert. Well, you have a good rest of your week there, and we'll check you down the line there. All right. Any last calls? Please come now.
No, California took our place. We didn't get to keep our plates. That was the only state out of the Florida. California was the only one that wouldn't let us keep our Florida license plates. Anyway, get ready.
No, you're kidding. You're kidding. So what you're saying to me is, when you went to go get your California plates, they literally physically took your Florida plates, right?
Yes, and we were not happy. We were not happy driving my grandmother, my mom and dad, and myself driving all the way out here from Florida, from the Florida Keys. And all that long drive and go the next week to get our license, and they wouldn't let us keep our license plates, and that was very sad, because out of the 4 states, that would be the one I would want to keep the most. Anyway, can't let the KB6K up out of California for you, though.
Hey, look, I know everybody's trying to get out of here. Me too. I have to share this one story with you. So for a little bit there, we lived in Quebec. And up until that time, I had never owned a new car. Quebec, Canada there. And then this is, like I said, over 20-something years ago now. But when I started looking for a car, and I was like, I can afford my own car now, well, of course I'm going to have personalized license plate. That goes without saying, right? So I started inquiring and trying to figure it out. And at the time, Quebec's like, oh, we don't have personalized license plates. You can't get that here. I was like, what? So 3 months later, the wife was like, what's going on? I'm like, we're moving. Because we were working in Ontario because I'm not bilingual, but we're living in Quebec because it was less expensive. So I convinced her that, it was hard on both of us to be paying, working in one province, because it's like living in another country. Working in one province, living in another province, and all the tax stuff and da-da-da-da. So I convinced her to move to Ontario. Oh, Lord have mercy. She's probably listening and watching this thing now because she does listen to him. But I convinced her to move to Ontario, right? And it was closer to the work and everything like that. So no complaints. And then I went and got a car and then got personalized license plates. So thank you for letting me know that, because I have asked her would she ever move to the States with me and stuff like that. And she said yes, but mostly the northern states. She's not down with moving to the south because we're in a biracial relationship. So she's not down with that. But I'm definitely going to do some homework before I move to any state. Because if they want, well, I'll have to change my stuff because it won't be Canadian. But man, I would have been heartbroken. I would have been telling people they stole my license plate, they stole the whole damn car. I've been saying something, right? But you don't know until you get there. I don't know. That would have broke my heart. That's brutal. Okay.
Yeah, it did, and obviously I was living down in the Florida Keys, about halfway down at Marathon, right before the 7-mile bridge before you go to Key West, and that was a heck of a place to leave. I didn't want to leave there, but my dad was working at Voice of America, and they were changing the radio RT, and he wanted to stay at Voice of America, and that's why he ended up out here in California, and he retired out there retired out there at Voice of America as plant supervisor. So anyway, we'll let you go. We've been talking for years. Anyway, Katie,
Hey, we call yes, we will be. We call that the Canadian goodbye. The Canadian goodbye. You start telling somebody good night, and then you're at their house. You're like, okay, good night, everybody. And then you're going into the bedroom, and they're still sitting there talking to you. You're sleeping. They're talking to you in your sleep. That's the Canadian goodbye. All right, everybody, we're gonna cut it off here, so you guys can get back to it. 7-3 to all from VA3EWV. Have a good night. Okay, folks, that is it. The net is over with, and we're going to give us some outgoing music here. Let's see what we're going to play today. Let's see. Oh, we'll do Calling the World from Cooper's Marsh. One of the first places I did my photo activations at. Here we go.
Voice so strong, so clear. From Cooper's Marsh he calls to those far and near. Sugar sweet audio.
Sugar sweet audio. I love that.
Protocols on the air in the morning light. CQ all around. 40 meters, hear that sound. All the world from Cooper's Marsh. Big V sending love so harsh. Protocol operation in the quiet marshland. Biggie reaches out with a steady hand. Under the stars shining bright. His signal soaring takes flight. From dawn until the night. Big E's words take their flight. 73 sending love to every ham out there. From Cooper's Marsh with care. Big E's voice fills the air.
Alright, good night, everybody. From Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, on the air with VA3EWV, AllStar and EchoLink net. Have a great night.